When a person passes away, the court appoints a personal representative, or PR, to manage the estate. This PR is responsible for winding up the estate and taking great care of the heirs who will inherit the assets of the estate. Now, if all of this is not interesting to you, you can just skip now. However, if you are a PR, or if you have a friend who is, stick around for some valuable information. Still with me? Okay, let's start with a typical PR's day. Take it away, Kathy.
Here's a probate warning. A super low offer bandit, SLOB for short, offers fake friendship and fake help to the personal representative, or PR, in charge of the estate. The SLOB convinces the PR to keep the estate's real estate off the open market. She's trying to buy on the sly for only 65% to 80% of value, so she has to stop all other offers. After the SLOB has beaten down the price and exhausted and delayed the PR as much as possible, she ties up the property with a contract that only she can cancel. Then the SLOB either flips the contract to another buyer or buys way cheap, if she can even qualify to buy. Terry Hunter puts a stop to all this heartless abuse of family members who are grieving the loss of their husband, wife, child, or parent. That's why he's the estate defender. Here's Terry.
Thanks for the example, Kathy. The main point is whether it's a fake buyer, a cutthroat investor, or a real estate agent trying to get a low price deal for his built-in buyer, their approaches are all the same. All of these low offer bandits, as I call them, attempt to keep your property off the open market so they can cut a golden deal for themselves. By the way, there are over 100,000 agents in our local MLS, but there's only 3,000 sales a month. So you can see by the numbers why there are lots of desperate agents on the prowl. Also, Kathy's example is only one example of the harassment and hassles of being a PR. Here's a diagram of more of the pressures on the PR, the biggest one being the loss of a loved one, of course. Most of the others go away when you transfer the responsibility to a true-to-you fiduciary real estate broker. I can't do anything about the heartache that you have, and I know it well from the passing of my own parents, but I can take the real estate load off of your shoulders. There are 5 main rules for a successful probate. Rule number 1 is to have a real estate agent fiduciary on your side right from the start. He will make sure that the property is properly marketed and take the stress off of you. By the way, beware of any agent who has a buyer and who wants to do a private deal. Rule number 2 is to make sure your real estate agent is a true-to-you fiduciary. That means that the estate's interests come first before his. A surprising number of real estate agents take the stand that they're just marketers who just happen to be selling houses, and they're not fiduciaries. To these heartless agents, PRs are just raw material for their own climb up to millionaire real estate status. Many agents would rather get a quick sale at a lower price than work hard for a higher price for you. For example, a $50,000 higher price for you nets you $47,000 more. But it's only $1,500 for your agent. Rule number 3 is to be sure that you're dealing with a certified probate agent to keep everything inside the legal guardrails. You don't want somebody who is getting on-the-job training on your nickel. You also need an agent with a vast network of contractors, eviction attorneys, personal property brokers, and other service providers to fully manage the real estate. As soon as you have court approval, you should have your agent and let him handle, with your approval of course, all of the real estate hassles from then on. In my case, I'm a former custom home builder, a real estate contractor, And I have interest-free cash if we need it for carpet and paint and so forth to get top dollar for the estate. Rule number 4 is to avoid realtor double agents. You may never have heard of them, but they're real. Your agent can automatically become a double agent if any other agent in his same company brings you a buyer. You can't afford the risk. In the first place, your agent becomes the agent for the buyer as well as for you. So he can't represent either of you because he can't favor one of his bosses over the other boss. In the second place, if the buyer doesn't like how your agent operates, he can sue everybody in the transaction because your agent is his agent. In my case, I'm the only licensed agent in my small boutique company. No problem with double agents with me, and I work with you personally, not some junior newbie. And rule number 5 is to stop buyer backouts, especially now when a do-over is even more of a problem. In the heat of competing for your property, the buyer may bid higher than he really wanted to bid. But then the next morning rolls around, the morning after, and he says, you know what, I paid way too much for that property, and then he wants to back out. Now, if the court's involved in the sale, this is not likely because the buyer has a 10% deposit at risk and few, if any, backout possibilities. But many times, the court does not control the property sale. In these cases, you need more than the standard realtor contract because the standard realtor contract is defective and it can't stop buyer backouts. My nail the sale process can stop buyer backouts so that we actually close for that initial high bid. Click the button for all the details or to schedule a brief consult with me to see what you need for your probate. You can also call me direct at 949-278-1595. I look forward to seeing you in person.